20 years, ladies and gentlemen. Almost 20 years. That's how long Fran Boyle poured his blood, sweat, and tears into this company. 20 years without a single write-up. Not a single poor evaluation. And what was he rewarded with for all his loyal and faithful service to this company? He was illegally terminated. He was illegally terminated to save costs on a pension because he was old. Fran was old enough and worked for Homart long enough that he was about to welcome a well-deserved pension, making him able to retire. Convenient timing. And that's why we're here today. So you all fine citizens can right this wrong. Firing someone because of their age is illegal. During this trial, you have heard from Fran's evaluation and learned from that evaluation that the employees that Fran looked over were supportive of him. Not only supportive, but all of them, not some, not a few, but all were willing to continue to work for him. From this evaluation, you learned that Fran kept up with his sales and inventory files. Don't let them fool you into thinking they weren't getting done or were getting done incorrectly just because he chose to do them by hand. You also learned that although sales were down across the board, other departments were doing worse than Fran's department. So I'm sure it wasn't a surprise when Fran's evaluation results came back that he performed his job satisfactorily. So why was Fran fired? Fran was fired because he was older, which meant he made more money and was amongst those closest to their proper pension. This is a typical story, people, of a corporation who had to cut costs due to the falling sales numbers, according to the CEO of Homart. That same CEO admitted that the whole country was in a slow retail economy. So how did the general manager keep his CEO happy and cut costs? By illegally terminating those closest to their pensions and highest in age. You even heard testimony of Homart's general manager being overheard calling Fran an old fogey. Look for the pattern, ladies and gentlemen. The evidence clearly points to a pattern all too familiar. That is this. Across the board, numbers aren't great. There's a need for reorganization, and all the managers 32 to 60, and of all the managers aged 32 to 60, only the ones that were fired were over 55 with higher salaries and closer to pensions. Ladies and gentlemen, this pattern was the very reason laws like discriminating against someone for their age were enacted. In this case, the law orders Homart must show by preponderance of evidence that they did nothing wrong. That is their burden, Homart's burden, not Fran's. But have they met their burden? The evidence they have presented isn't evidence that they did nothing wrong, but in fact, they are cover-ups. They brought up the sales excuse, but sales were down everywhere. In some places, they were down worse than Fran's department. They brought up the fact that people didn't like working for him, but yet in his evaluation, it said everyone would work for him and continue to work for him. They said he didn't do his job well. Well, his evaluation resulted in a satisfactory. So, this was a company who was suffering from a slow retail market and tried to cut costs by eliminating a pension and a high salary of someone older who didn't deserve it. That is indefensible. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a duty to uphold the law and dispense justice. Your verdict will be a message to the community that we won't tolerate this type of discrimination. Please find in favor of Fran Boyle.